Time for another Soccer Down Here 1v1. We dip back into the NPSL and Port City FC. You're on the clock. For that, we go to Wilmington, North Carolina. Catch up with one of the co-head coaches, Nate Torbett. Nate, thanks for hanging out for a 1v1.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so I guess what a lot of folks would like to know is how much thought went into this? How much of a runway did all of you that are attached here to Port City give yourselves before you were comfortable making an announcement? How far back are we going before the 21st of September?
Well, it's been a very crazy journey with Port City. I've been with them from the very beginning, being named the first head coach of the club. So this is my third season as the head coach. And we've only been a club for a little over 12 months now at this point, and everything just continued to move at a great pace. But it was kind of the thing when the guys got together and kind of built this thing. It was always just an idea of how far can we push this thing and what level can we continue to go to and what level can we grow. So it's always been in the mind of like, hey, can we push it to the NPSL? What exactly can we go to with the club? And I don't think anybody expected it to grow this quickly. And for us to have success with sponsorships and the way the community is rallied around it, I think everybody would think it's moved a lot faster than we thought. But I think the goal for everybody that's been involved from the beginning has been, hey, let's see how far we can go in this community and what level we can get to.
And so why the NPSL? I'm sure that you guys probably had a laundry list and an alphabet soup of leagues that you could choose from. What directed you to the NPSL over all the others?
Yeah, I think the big thing is our president, Joey Lipoff, has a good experience with his club up in Kansas City with Sunflower FC. So I think just the familiarity with it, with him being involved with his club up there, was just kind of an easier path, just to have that familiarity. And then we got a nice conference, in this region, with App FC and our up the road, 2 hours up the road with Greenville United is right up the road. So I just think the clubs that are in this area and over in Charlotte as well, I just think it made a lot of sense in that aspect. It's a very quality league, very well organized, very well run. So it always just had that appeal to it for us. And I think it's a great decision for the club to go into it.
All right, so bookmark that idea because I do want to break down what your possible conference could be and going up against teams like App and Hops and
Yeah.
so we'll push that one to the side a little bit.
Yeah.
Put a bookmark in there. For those that don't know what the sport means to Wilmington and that area, how would you break down how soccer is a part of the fabric there in that part of North Carolina?
And it's a great area for soccer. It really is. Going back to when the Wilmington Hammerheads were obviously there, and the success that they were able to have, and kind of just filling that void since they left. There's not been that higher level than college, and there's a great college soccer program there with with Coach Aiden Heaney at UNCW. So he's got a great program there, but once those guys are done, there's not really that next kind of level. And there's great youth clubs there. With the Hammerheads Youth Club has been awesome. And there's been some other clubs with Pisa and WUFA, and Superb Soccer. So the youth soccer there has just been fantastic. But it's just kind of filling that void since the Hammerheads have left. And that's kind of where, the group of guys that really started this thing, that was kind of the idea. It was like, there's that missing void, and can we come in and kind of fill that void that the community has been missing since the Hammerheads? So that was kind of the goal, was to be that team, be that organization that can come in and fill that, because the Hammerheads was an awesome program and the community loved it and rallied around it. So that's always kind of been the goal, is to not do what the Hammerheads did, but can we kind of be that missing piece again for a higher level of football in the community.
So what has the response been like there in the community and the area since the announcement became official about Port City?
I mean, a lot of excitement. Our sponsors have been great, and we've continued to add sponsors. There's been tons of excitement in the community. just in our short time. And like I said, we've still only been a club for just over a year, really. So there's still so much more to grow, but the excitement around it has been great. The community's been so great. A lot of our guys, especially these first couple of seasons of getting this thing running, all of our players have been, local players. And then even last season, we did have a lot of college players we were able to add, but they were all Wilmington natives that were just back home, for the summer and were able to play for us. So to do it from, the business side of it with all of the sponsorships, but then also to do it with the players where we're, fielding a team with all Wilmington based players, whether they're off in college or they just grew up in the community, has been awesome to kind of rally all those people together. And I'm just excited to see how it continues to grow because we've had such great excitement around it, and continue to see where we'll kind of get to here over the next couple months and as we get closer to that inaugural season in the NPSL.
I was going to ask, when it comes to your phone blowing up or your WhatsApp blowing up, I was wondering how far flung things were going to be when this announcement gets made. Are folks calling from like Neptune or Saturn or something? Or how far flung are we talking in these conversations? Even as you just mentioned, you want to try to have it with as local an impact as possible.
Yeah, we've always been from the beginning a community-based club, and that's what we've really tried to build the soccer community and continue to raise the level of soccer in the community. That's always been the number one goal, and to continue to put Wilmington soccer on the map the best that we can. We feel like we have an obligation to the community to do that, and the community deserves that. So we're always going to be a community-based club. And whether that's having our guys go out into the community and help with outreach programs or, whatever it is, but the community is definitely going to always be number one. But just from the coaching side of it, yeah, we want to branch out and we want players from all over the country. We want college players that we can go and pick from programs that are not just in North Carolina. We want to branch it out and continue to grow it other places, but with keeping in mind that we're always going to be a community-based program.
Now, you mentioned also the list, not being quite a year old, but, thinking that there's still a lot to do. I'm sure that there are folks that'll sit there and say, oh, yeah. The season, it's over there. It's like late spring, early summer. Season's going to start. Yeah, you got plenty of time. Well, no, you don't.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. It's always a to-do list. And I'm sure that you guys have a to-do list. And when you're piecing this list together, is it, like on your phone where you sit there, you pull your stylus out, you've got an idea at 3:00 in the afternoon or at a stoplight, you sit there, you write it down on a Word doc or you send a text to yourself, you jam the stylus back, you put your phone away. Is it like on a magnet on your fridge where at like 2:30 in the morning, you sit there and it's like, oh, you're getting your drink of water and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. You write it down, you bring it in later. Or as I'm staring at you as we're, doing this videos on the video side of things, so I can kind of see what's going on. Is there one of those big dry erase boards that's like 4 feet by 6 feet long that's got a bunch of different colors and arrows and categories? Where is this to-do list for you there at Port City? And what do you think the next thing that you can cross off it is?
Yeah, it's kind of a unique situation that we're in right now because currently we're in season. So especially for me, being the head coach, it's kind of a weird thing because we're in season and focused on this season that we're in right now and getting through there. So we're about halfway through the season. But like you said, it's always keeping the eye on what's coming in the future. And there is a list of things that we got to continue to knock off. And we're really a working man's club. Everybody that's been a part of putting this thing together has jobs, has 9-to-5s and stuff. So we got a bunch of different group chats, and always having ideas flying through the group chats. For me, I always just try to keep a list of things in my phone, and I'm always kind of on the run, running and gunning and kind of doing some things on the fly as well. But I like to keep things as organized as possible. So I've got my list of things as the head coach to, really put together and try to focus on this season as much as possible and doing some great things this season that we're currently in. But also have to keep in mind that, this time is going to fly and the NPSL season is right around the corner, and that it's going to be here before we know it. So there's a long list of things that continue to knock out. For me specifically, it's trying to keep an eye on the college game and seeing how the college players that we had last season, how they're doing, kind of touching base with them to see what their thought process is on returning to us, for the next season in the spring, summer, and then kind of looking around, recruitment onto other players we can bring in to help us. And then on top of that, continuing to develop that core local group that we have currently playing right now. So that's kind of what I'm in right now, looking forward to the future.
You mentioned the footprint and the other franchises that are in your area in the Mid-Atlantic currently, and before the season starts, I imagine that there'll probably be some shuffling of franchises into other conferences and things like that. You'd mentioned Charlottetown Hops. You'd mentioned App FC, who've done really well there in Boone, filling a void that Appalachian State left when they discontinued their men's soccer program. In the Mid-Atlantic, it's Alexandria, it's Annapolis, who have done gangbusters out of the blocks. It's there in Annapolis. You've got FC Frederick. You mentioned Greenville. There's Grove, Northern Virginia United, Virginia Beach City FC, Virginia Dream. Have they told you where you guys are going to be fitting in? Are you fitting in more toward your south and east? Are you fitting into the Mid-Atlantic, or are they giving you it's like, we'll figure it out and we'll let you know in a little bit? But there's a lot of quality in a very short amount of space there geographically for you guys to compete against.
Oh yeah, lots of quality in this region. I know the conference hasn't been finalized for the season, because I know there'll be some kind of shuffling around with the teams. So we're not quite sure yet who will be in our conference officially, but I believe we'll be kind of in that southeast, region with App, and definitely the North Carolina teams will for sure be competing against. So yeah, there's a lot of quality, very familiar, and we've already established really good relationships, with Groves United and App FC and Greenville United right up the road. So we're just looking forward to competing against those guys. Wish them all the best, but we're excited to get in there and mix it up with them as well.
When it comes to advice, whether it's you from a coaching perspective or you from an administrative perspective, how many folks, and you can say who they are if you want. I don't want you to violate any confidences, but when it comes to hitting up your speed dial on your phone, hey, I need advice on either the on the field stuff as we're building here in the NPSL, or the off the field stuff so we can have all the infrastructure in place. How many folks do you and all of the guys there have on your speed dial that you can reference and have conversations with about launching something here in the NPSL?
Yeah, I think a couple of different avenues. With our president, Joey, with him having that familiarity with Sunflower, I know it's been useful for him to have a lot of people to kind of reach out to, because, Sunflower has kind of progressed as well, into the NPSL, and kind of blueprinting what they did is kind of, was his idea to blueprint Sunflower to Port City. So I know that's been very helpful for him in terms of the business side of it and the behind the scenes side of it, to kind of use that blueprint for us. And then for coaching, for me, I'm a coach's kid, and my mom's been a head volleyball coach at the college level for over 30 years. So for me, for coaching stuff, she's really been a mentor to me, and got some other mentors in my life as well that kind of have helped me through my young coaching career. And then we've got just a great staff and a great group of people that we can always bounce ideas off of each other. And like I said, with the community here, with the Hammerheads here, and just all the people, we've always, the club has always prided itself on bringing in good people first. And I think that goes a long way when you've got good people. I've prided myself on bringing in good players, good people first. And I think that always goes a long way from top to bottom when you've just got good people involved. You can have honest conversations, you can bounce ideas off of each other, you can learn and grow together. And I think that's something the club has done a fantastic job of doing, is bringing in just good, solid people to be involved with this thing.
And you're playing at Legion Stadium, if memory serves, and then that's a 6,000 seat facility. And I know that you want to be that focal point on those home dates where you can bring as many folks in under the tent as possible. when it came to determining a venue, how deep a conversation was that, or was it? It's like, nah, we got to go to Legion. That's where we got to be. Everybody knows Legion. We'll go here, and we know what we can do. Because I know, like when we mentioned Annapolis earlier, they're playing at Navy Marine Corps, and they're getting 8,000 folks. They had an expectation level. They're just going to open the door and have 11 gazillion folks walk in and be a flag bearer for what the future of the NPSL can be, having a venue that can fit this kind of folks. And you guys are doing that at 6,000 at Legion. I mean, that's a tall order, but I think you're not selling the league short by doing something like that.
Yeah, and the good thing for us is we've been familiar with Legion from the very beginning. It was when we first started this thing, that was where we wanted to compete. So we've been competing there our first 2 seasons as a club. That's where our home facility has been. So we've had a great relationship with them, and we've already had the experience getting our name out there and playing our home matches there already. So it just made complete sense to continue to use that facility. It's a great facility. And the goal as we continue to grow and through this next process of adding more staff and continuing to get our name out there in the community and all those kind of things, we hope to continue to fill up that stadium. But it's a great facility. I would love to see it packed out for home games, and that's the goal. So, but it's nice that we've had that familiarity of playing there and have a good relationship there.
So what are the next things that you think that Port City can cross off its list as you guys get ready for the 24 season? What's coming up around the corner folks need to keep an eye on out there?
Yeah, well, like I said, we're currently in season. So anybody that's in the community can come and check out our games now. It's a good little team that we have now based off of all local guys in the community, which I think is just a fun group to work with. And then from the business side of it, we're still a pretty small club in terms of the people we have working behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff. So we're continuing to grow in that aspect. So I think the next steps is just to continue to add some staff to help us out with the behind the scenes things. We would like to continue to grow the coaching staff a bit more to just continue to add those kind of people to make it not as hard on a smaller group to kind of go through all these things. So we're looking to add some more good people that can come in and give us a hand and kind of fill out those roles and clarify some roles and continue to grow. So I think that's the main thing. And then for the coaching side of it, it's continuing that recruitment and starting to get an idea of kind of molding what the squad will hopefully look like for that first season. But everything's heading in a good direction. So just excited to see where it goes over these next couple months.
All right, hit the promo for me for everybody that needs to keep an eye on what's going on there at Port City. How do they do it on social media?
Yeah, definitely on our Instagram and Facebook. I know we'll have a website launching hopefully soon, but that's a work in progress as well. So our Instagram is big and our Facebook is big. So that's our two main spots right now. And then we'll have an announcement when our website officially launches. So that's where you can find us.
Facebook at Port City FC Wilmington, on the IG, the gram, or the Insta, whatever the kids call it these days, at Port City_FC. Nate Torbett, head coach Port City, as they head into the NPSL. Nate, thanks for hanging out with us for a 1v1. We'll be keeping an eye on you. If you ever want to break any news, you can do that right here at STH. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.